Hello and good morning or good evening, depending where you are. This is the second small group of meeting of our Owls in Flight conversation series, where we discuss matters relating to the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm Jana Brady. I'm a geography lecturer at Southern Connecticut State University, and I will act as a moderator for this series. As an educator and someone who has had a challenging semester, but for other reasons, I'm very interested in hearing student perspectives on the events of spring 2020 or fall 2020, as it may be for our Southern Hemisphere contingent. I am very curious to see how your universities responded to the coronavirus pandemic and how it impacted your semester. Perhaps that's a good starting off point for us. Nicole, can you go first and tell us how your university in South Africa has dealt with COVID-19?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole. I study law at the University of the Western Cape. So our lockdown started in April, end of April, which our university shut down for, as they wanted to not only protect the students, but the staff as well. So what happened is that everyone that was living at the university, including myself, had to leave the premises and travel back home. I remember that our university let some students stay at the residence for those that couldn't find enough time to go home, back home, because we have students from all over Cape Town, Johannesburg, so a lot of places. So we had a short time to actually travel back home. At this moment, our university is looking at restarting the opening and only allowing, I think they said, about 30% students back, which would be students that have to do practicals, and that's postgrads and students like those. But my learning experience, because our lecturers kept up with their work, it was tough, but I can say that the lecturers that I have really went with us every step of the way. They were awake all hours, if I could say that, because whenever we would have a question or stuff on tasks that we needed to hand it in, assignments and stuff, they would be there. They would answer us directly, quickly, and yeah. So I feel like my university and my lecturers dealt with this whole pandemic quite well. I'm proud to be part of the University of the Western Cape. It just proves that they not only lecturers, but they do care about the students and the staff as well. So that was my experience through the whole pandemic with our university. If there's any questions you guys can ask, if not, I guess we'll go over to the next person.
Okay, so I'm Abby and I'm from Liverpool John Moores University in England. Our lockdown started, our university closed about mid-March because I think we got hit by coronavirus a little bit before maybe than South Africa. All of our buildings, we sort of closed in phases, so we stopped having classes, but the libraries were still open, and then the whole university completely shut down. But a lot of our students, so most people did just go home, but some people stayed in Liverpool as well, but not that many. We've had a lot of our teaching we can get on Canvas, and we haven't had any exams. It's all been changed to essays. Well, in I do geography, so that has, but I know some courses have had to have exams, so that's been a little bit different. But I've just had a lot of teaching online, and we're just trying to do everything online, and hopefully we should be opening again in September. Just what we've heard, but our graduation and stuff has been cancelled, like I think everywhere. So yeah, I think Katie, you're from John Moores as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I think you said everything I would have said, really. I think it was hard being in our final year, the final semester, like of our entire university experience being moved to online, but our lecturers were amazing, weren't they? And delivering, I don't know what yours were like, but mine's done like audio recordings, so you could kind of
Yeah.
just go through it yourself in your own time and go over what they were saying about each lecture. I think looking back, I probably preferred that we didn't have an exam, although at the time I did freak out. And yeah, just really sad about graduation, but hopefully there will be a ceremony when there can be. Um, and yeah, I think in September they've spoke about having people on campus, but nowhere near as much as they usually do. There's like thousands of students that filter in and out every day, so I guess it just depends.
I think our numbers are going down a lot in England, though. They are decreasing quickly, so I'm not sure about everywhere else.
I think they're going down in some areas. I know in South Africa they're still rising, unfortunately. Nicole did misspeak a little bit. I don't know if she noticed it, but they actually went into lockdown in mid-March with everybody else. So everybody I think was hit by it once it made it out of East Asia. I think we all kind of got hit with it approximately the same time. Let's see, Leonardo, can you tell us about the experience where you are?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning to everyone. So I'm Leo, public administration student at the Universidad de Santiago de Chile. The units of the central government of my university have worked gathering the suggestion of the different states and units. They generating an update of the institutional protocol for virtual undergraduate and postgraduate classes. This protocol seeks to incorporate the experience of students, academic, and teaching staff. They generated new adaptations to previous communications, and mainly in the field of evaluations, practical training experience, breaks, and reschedules. The durations of class modules and the characteristics of virtual classes are so short than the before classes. In my opinion, in this moment, we need to adopt a different lifestyles. I think it's something that had to happen at some point, because we are living in a digital world, but the need was imposed suddenly with the pandemic. And today it is an obligation to adapt. In my case, it has not been difficult because I have had contact with computers all my life, but this is displacing to who do not have access to internet and digital media. But I think that we need to be together in this moment. That is my message.
I think that's a wonderful point. A lot of us come from universities that are in areas where computers have been in the home since the early 90s, maybe even the 80s. But that's not the case all around the world at every university. Leo, can you tell us a little bit about if you know if this happened, if the university, and maybe Nicole can jump in, and anybody else also, did the university do anything to help students with access?
Yes, they are given access for internet and giving computers for the people that needs.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, our university as well have contributed to data So they would give like 10 gigs daytime and 20 gigs nighttime data for the month for students, as well as laptops that they bought, and then they will allow you to pay them off. Um, I don't know exactly when you have to pay it off by, but I think you can pay it off while you still study there, which was actually a good thing, I feel. But yeah, I feel like our university has done what it could to help students in need.
I think one thing I heard that the University of Western Cape did that I thought was a really great idea and a kind of a novel way to get access to different students. They negotiated with cell phone providers and service providers to make accessing their learning management system free on your cell phone. So if you don't have any data on your phone, or you can still make the connection, but it's not charging you data, it's not charging you anything like that. So I thought that was a really great way to bring access to people. Let's see, Gohar, can you tell us about the response in Armenia?
Yeah, sure. So, hi everyone. I'm Gohar. I'm from Armenia. I study at the American University of Armenia, and it is actually the only university in Armenia that has teaching the complete English degree that is provided to students. So we've been actually doing really great in terms of online learning transition, because our instructors and professors are mainly like not so old, if I may say. So they are they are tech savvy, and it wasn't an issue for them to connect to use this. For students, actually, it was a problem concerning our internet connection problems in general in Armenia, because our telecommunication service providers are not well equipped with the technologies, and so a lot of times we had connection disruptions, and this was the main reason why the online learning was kind of stressful for students. But in terms of organization, our university was really quick in terms of adopting these new methods, and we did quite well. As you all said, we started the online semester mid-March, but we actually had like two stages. The first one was March 1st. It actually started because we had to have a spring break, and then it was transferred. So the first case of the coronavirus was in Armenia was in March 1st. So as soon as we had the first case, all the universities shut down in the country. So it was the governmental announcement that no classes can be obtained offline. So it turned out that our university was having a break, so it wasn't like the university was shut down, but it was we didn't have classes. And then after our break ended, we came back to the classes because the cases weren't increasing. But unfortunately, after 1 week of classes offline, we then were forced to transfer to online sessions. I would say that I think that, as Leonardo said, we are living in a world when it's impossible to not have a digital component in education. However, I think the social interaction and the communication that you are having face to face is also really important, and it's also important for your future studies, because you are gaining skills about teamwork and how you have to do work in groups, how do you communicate with your professors, and also professional atmospheres and environments. So I think the only missing point from this online session is this active face-to-face communication, and I don't know how can we supplement it in the future. But in terms of our university, we are having the fall semester mostly online, with some co-curricular and extracurricular activities that will be held in the building. Yeah, so that's it.
Great, well, thank you. I think I think that sounds like they have done an amazing job of finding students when necessary where they are. Jeremy, do you want to share your experience? I know you had an interesting experience being abroad at the time.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerome, and actually I'm from Group A, but unfortunately I missed the meeting, so I joined the Group B. Nice to meet you. So I am a graduate student of SCSU and also a graduate student of East China Normal University. Since I have been studying in the United States in spring semester, I am not particularly familiar with the situation of my Chinese university. According to the information I have received so far, the school of the university, East China Normal University has not started since the winter vacation. Moreover, the semester has already ended and the school is not going to start. All the courses are online. As my major is physical education, so many courses need to be completed in the physical activity. So my classmates generally think that the effect of many online courses is not very good because they can't participate in the physical activity. I think this past semester was really challenging for them, but fortunately they have success. So for me personally, this is my first semester studying in the SCSU. And I think it's really a difficult time for me to study here because I think the most challenging thing for me is the language. The pandemic changed a lot of stuff, so half of my courses become online courses. I think that is unfortunate for me because there is no sense of actual class in online courses. Especially I have less communication with my classmates and teachers. As an international student, I think this is important for me because if I have more chances to communicate with my classmates and the professors, I can improve my English a little bit. And I hope the situation will be better in next semester. I hope I can return to the campus and having classes with my classmates together. That's all. Thank you.
Emma, what's it like at Southern right now?
It's really interesting. So hi everybody. My name is Emma. I'm from Southern Connecticut State University. I feel like I've shared a lot of similar experiences with you guys. We all kind of, from what I've heard, started going into quarantine around the same time, which is really interesting. Like all of you, I also went on to online, and I'm also, like Abby, an environmental systems major. So a lot of the fieldwork stuff that we were supposed to do turned into projects and essays, which all my professors were very understanding on, extending deadlines, making sure that everyone had the fair opportunity to get their work done. It's really interesting. So the school didn't use a specific format when it came to teaching. So a lot of people use either Zoom or WebEx or even Teams. So because you had so many options, it was a big learning curve having to learn all three at the same time. But it was nice because I think everybody was learning it, even the teachers. So we all kind of like grouped together. What about you guys? So did you guys all use like a specific platform to do your online classes, or was it kind of like open for everybody? Ours haven't really been classes. We've just had like PowerPoint presentations uploaded online, and then our professors have done voiceovers and they've like talked over the PowerPoint, so there's a voice thing. So it was more because we don't really, in SCSU, which I was really surprised when we got there, there's a lot more discussion in class, and like you can talk. You don't do that in England at all. It's more like a lecture and everyone just sits there and listens, and then that's it. So I think whereas in the US, like discussion is a lot more important, so you would have more classes. We just had the lectures and the voiceovers, and then if you did get stuck on something, then you just email your professor. and then they'd help you that way. So we haven't had really like Teams or Zoom meetings or anything.
Yeah. Well, we use the big blue button, which is our lecturers would schedule a time where we would all have to come together as a class, and then she would explain the work. And while she's explaining, and you're stuck on something, you can just type in the chat box, and then she'll read it and then go over it. So I think that was really helpful for us as students, because we are first year students. So it's very difficult for us at this point. We have to have a lot. We are not like students that are, seniors that knows a lot of the work already, that has passed the whole general section of it. So for us, the big blue button was definitely helpful to interact with our lecturers while they are discussing the work with us.
In our case, we were having like regular scheduled Zoom meetings with our like based on our general schedule, and in most of cases, in my case, all the instructors had those, but I know some students that told me that some instructors were just doing, as you said, like the video recordings on themselves, giving the lectures, and then they have to like watch them and then have the discussion. But I'm actually really surprised that you don't have the discussion this part of in UK, because even though we are in Armenia, like we are US, kind of the standard is US standard university, so we also have the discussion point is very important for our classes. So it was actually the one missing part in online schedule that didn't satisfy me, because some students were not turning their cameras on and they were not speaking. And actually, those who were kind of introverted, I saw that some introverts were really good while online doing the online classes, because they had the confidence. So I was really proud for them, and I think that it was a benefit for them. But for some extroverts, it wasn't so good, so they couldn't like show off themselves in this situation.
Yeah. Louis, could you tell us about your university experience when this whole pandemic started happening?
Yes, hi, I'm Luis. I'm from Spain, in the Universidad Pontificia de Salamanca. So here in Spain, the situation has been really challenged. That is one of the most affected countries in Europe. So we started with this situation in mid-March, like all of you, more or less. And 2 days before or something like that, the university closed. So the next week from that, we started with online classes. We had the same schedule, but online. So we have that kind of lectures that you are saying, with a presentation and the teacher speaking, but in live. So we can interrupt them with the chat or turn on the microphone and talk with him in online in that moment. So yeah, as you were saying, and yeah, we have finished the course now. So we have the exams online too. So using the platform and some new tools that the university used. So it's been the same but online. So you lose that contact with your classmates and with the teacher. You can talk with them via online, but it's not the same. So I think here in my university respond really good. And here in Spain, not all the universities have had the same response. So that is.
Thank you. Is there Tabia? Could you tell us about your university experience?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay. Actually, it is 8 o'clock tonight here in China. So good evening, everyone. I am Tabia from Shanghai Normal University. And for our university, I mean that my fellow classmates are having a super long winter holiday because in China, the universities haven't begun, this semester offline right now. So they're just having online class session at their home, maybe at their hometown in different cities and provinces. And I have to say that the university has given quite quick and good responses to the pandemic, because all the online sessions have turned smoothly, and apart from the effect brought by the pandemic, they are having their lessons quite smoothly and just as they have in the normal normal days like on campus. However, I find that the examination turns out to be quite difficult for them because the teacher have to monitor the exams while the students are taking exams online. So it's a kind of difficult task for them to complete, because I am an exchange student in Southern this semester. So all the information I talk about today are learned by my fellow classmates who study in Shanghai Normal University in China right now. And for all the students, they are like divided into two groups, like the seniors and the graduates who are in their third year can go back to campus to empty their dormitory and to have their commerce ceremony. However, those students like freshmen, juniors, and sophomore, they cannot go back to the school. So they are complete the whole semester just online. So this is the difference between different grades, I suppose. And yeah, the last thing I would like to mention is that our university is a kind of supervising us in a good and responsible way, because all the students in Shanghai Normal University have to fill in the health forms so that the university can know about their condition and to ensure that all the students are in healthy state and all the families are in healthy state. So I believe that this kind of collecting information is good for everyone and good for the cities, universities, and even the government. Okay, so that's all I would like to share. Thank you.
I would add that most of the universities in China are already reopened, but the universities in big cities like Beijing and Shanghai have not reopened because there are so many students in big cities, and the coronavirus is likely to spread faster if it persists. So both my university and hers are in Shanghai, so our university is still shut down.
But I think taking the whole inventory about who is maybe sick or whatever is actually a good idea. I haven't heard anything of Sumaira. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yes, Sumaira. My name is Sumaira, and unfortunately, last time I cannot participate because I have some technical issues. And I'm Southern Connecticut State University graduate student in public health, and same like in March we have problems, so our university goes online, but our professor, they did very well job. But we are in public health, so mostly our learning is in class, so we will discuss about any whole class, any health related topics, our opinion, how we can solve it. So I miss that one. This is we have additional learning, so I miss that one. This is issue with that. Online we discuss within our group, but not like we participate in our class. I think this is a difficult part for us.
So you work with finding ways to solved?
Yeah, in public health related issues. So
the coronavirus would be part of
yes,
your
that
job.
I'm still helping with the health department. So
Oh wow, that's nice.
yeah, I am working with them. So I am contact tracing and data analysis and those stuff still working.
Wow. It's nice to have someone that has a little bit more insight.
Yeah.
I will say it has been absolutely wonderful hearing from all of you that no one has been too, too damaged, I guess, from the semester that we've just had. Everybody kind of rolled with the punches and made it through, and you guys still feel like you had a valuable educational experience. I know from my end as a lecturer, I really tried to give that to my students, and I worked endless hours trying to accommodate everything and track down students and things like that. So I want you to know that your professors have really worked very hard for you and to make this as seamless as possible for you. So I have some questions that maybe we can talk about. And if Ashley is able to jump back on and join us, we'd love to hear her thoughts on her semester as well. Did the university that you went to, did they change how any of you were graded during the pandemic, or do you think that they should have changed the grading system?
Hi, I'm back. I switched to my phone, so I don't know if that works.
Okay, perfect. Well, you can jump in, and then everybody can think about grading, and maybe you can also, when you're finished, lead us off with the grading.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm a student at Southern Connecticut State University, but I was actually studying abroad at Queen Margaret University in Scotland. And so their semester there, for my classes, it was basically done like end of March. So we really only had like 2 weeks of online classes. And so that basically just consisted of like the overview of the lectures. So the professor would just speak over the lectures and you would just listen and take notes. And then for me personally, all of my like finals were already essays. So the only thing that really changed was the school basically mandated that all the professors had to give an extension because they knew that a lot of us were kind of having to try to get home and figuring all of that out and stuff. So that was really nice because a lot of the essays were due beginning of April, and that was kind of like right when I was getting home. So they kind of gave us some time because they knew we were trying to figure out all of that. In terms of grading, I don't really think they changed anything at all. I know that like what other people said, they changed having exams going to essays because it was just kind of easier than dealing with making an online exam and making sure everyone was being fair and stuff like that. But I don't really think they changed any of the grading.
Well, by us, they actually did. I wouldn't say the grading, but you have to have an overall mark of 40% during the semester to gain yourself entry into writing an exam. But they've changed that, so they scratched the whole 40% mark. So even if you get 10% or 20% in your overall assessments for the semester, because we have a semester subject and then we have a year subject. So they scratched that during this time, and they said even if you have 10%, you can still write the exam. Obviously, you have to do a lot better on your exam in order to pass that. So I think that was actually good because I was fortunate enough to stay with an aunt of mine during this time, which is relatively quiet here. It's just me and her. So I have my personal space, but for a lot of South Africans, that is not the case. So a lot of students can't focus the way that they would actually really love to. So I think the fact that the university did that is actually really good. So yeah, so over to the next.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Nicole. Our university did change as well. We do have the 40% thing in place where like you have to get 40% in order to pass, but they introduced something called the no detriment approach, which to be honest is really confusing, and I didn't understand it much at first, but I think it really only applied to final year students, where if our average of our grade across second semester, we're like way below our average of our first semester grade, and also our performance throughout like university, they would consider our previous average across grades when determining like what degree classification we will get, and also so 70% is a first class degree in our university, and Liverpool John Moores as well, by the way, in case anyone didn't hear Abby say. But I think this year they've dropped it to 68%. So if you're getting 68%, you also get a first. 60% and above is a 2-1, the same. But yeah, I think that's kind of the main changes to our grading systems, which is obviously really beneficial, and it definitely relieved a lot of the pressure in like performing in our final exams.
I think it's definitely helped a lot of students that didn't have laptops and stuff like that at home, because we got loan laptops, but some people were well behind and started to worry about the grades and stuff, so it just means that you can't get anything below that what you already got, which was really good, wasn't it? And we got long extensions. Well, I know I got most of my extensions. I got about a month on each of my assignments. So I had 5 assignments which were due. So we got a month extra for all of them, which was a lot easier, I think. Yeah. So I've handed everything in now. But I think we should get our grades back soon. But everything has obviously just been pushed back.
Yeah.
Yes, the other one was the same way, and they changed the requirements, so you could do a pass-fail option, which means that really it doesn't really go towards your GPA that much. So it's just like for people who are struggling in like math or some of the harder subjects that were hard to do online, like any of the labs. I know a lot of my friends took the pass-fail option there. You also were able to give, if you didn't want to do pass-fail, you could get an incomplete, which means that you have a longer extension than even past the term, and that extension goes into, I believe, September. So anybody who is really stressed out over the workload or did have technical issues like Abby was pointing out, they were able to take that incomplete, and they were just finishing up their year over the summer.
I say our university, they give us a opportunity instead of grades. They give us option if we want to choose pass fail option. So I think it's good, but it's your choice. You want to take it or not. But I want to share from from my country, like Pakistan. But they did their government. They did everybody. Education minister, they announced everybody is passed, nobody is failed. They promote everyone to next class. It was, they say we will say next year whatever your grade, so we will grade you like that, but this year we will promote you next semester or next classes, everybody is passed, but
wow,
no grade.
That's so
that's amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Being passed over to the next without putting the work.
Yeah, everybody's happy. Every student is happy. Every student is equal. They give us everybody. You are equal. Everybody. There is no grade like you have A grade, B grade. Everybody just pass.
Oh wow.
That's good.
Without exam. There is no exam this year.
That's great.
That was anyone else?
Wanting this class in Pakistan.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just wondering, so your home country is Pakistan, so do you know if they're returning to school in the fall, or is it always going to be online?
No, they are going to school next semester.
In our case, actually, or everyone wanted to have the pass no pass, but no one gave it to us. So the strict regulation was that you have to study for your exams. And actually, we had a case when we had an exam. It was an online multiple choice exam, and we have 15 minutes for 60 questions. So it was like very stressful to pass. So I can say that we had the privilege of not taking exams. However, in the high school, when they are already graduating from the high school and they are applying for universities, so not all the universities are like American University of Armenia. We have like this generalized exams that everybody has to take to get accepted to the university. And before that, like in our country, based on your specific choice, you had to take several exams, like 5 or 6 exams. And this year they just said you have to take one exam, whichever you choose. So these guys were really like happy about that. But in terms of university, no such thing happened.
Personally, I do not know the exact perception of the homework and the, exam. I do not know the rate, but I heard from my fellow classmates that they have much more homework than they were on campus. So I suppose that the professor found it is difficult to have an online exam. So they're kind of they emphasize on homework much more than before. So yeah, I found this is much more reasonable because online exams are affected by many factors, so they are not fair as just they have it before. So maybe students are satisfied with this kind of form and they found it easier to finish and complete this semester in this way.
I would totally agree. I told a friend of mine a couple of days ago that if we were in class, we probably wouldn't have had this much work. Now that we're online, and I feel like the workload has doubled. Which shouldn't be the case, right? I mean, if we're in class, then if you take it on a slower step, then why, when you're online, you are actually doubling the work? But that's just how it felt like for me. I don't know about other students, but I think a few of my classmates said the same thing. But luckily, we had guidelines given to us by our lecturers, and they were helpful. They were hands on deck when it came to helping us with the workload. So that was good.
Well, I think that, the pandemic just offered university students with a perfect chance to practice their learning ability by themselves. Because, the professors cannot just encourage and push them to learn just as they do on campus. So university students have to learn by themselves, and it's a kind of improvement for their abilities and for their self-discipline. So I believe, there is some positive side of this lockdown for the university.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you there, Tabia. I know that I had a personal experience of, I don't know if anyone's heard of SPSS. It's like a statistical software system. I had to run tests to complete my dissertation, and I was usually going to the university library to do it, and there would be like academics on site to help you, or like the library staff. But I had to download the software at home and kind of learn it myself because I had no one there. So I don't think I would have really invested in it as much, like getting the external help, as I would have if it was at home. So in a way, I was glad to have been at home to go through it all myself and really learn it and really understand it so I could apply it to my dissertation, although it was still really challenging.
Yeah, I agree with you. SPS software, if you run it by self and you practice it, you learn more better than anybody is helping you how to run this test and this test. You can learn it better if you do by yourself.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I found that as well on my dissertation. I needed for geography mapping GIS, and you could only get on that on the university computers, so I had to download that, and I feel totally the same, like without the help, and you've had to learn it yourself and research things. then it's really made it sink in and actually learn rather than just learn the bits that you need to do to complete the coursework.
And also adding that like element of self-belief. I think, you know, you go through education kind of thinking, oh, I might not be able to do this if I weren't being taught so much information, or I weren't having like the seminars to help me understand it more in depth. Actually, if you kind of just go away by yourself and do the research and sit down and try and process it and understand it yourself, I think you think, actually, I can do this. So it definitely gives you a big like self-belief boost and self-confidence.
I'd like to jump in with a question that's sort of related to that. One of the things as an educator I try and teach my students is how to become self-directed learners, right? And that can be very difficult when someone is always hovering over them. But we've sort of erased that aspect of education in this new setting. Is there anything about either the new technologies or the new learning methods that you've used, or anything about the last semester that you really liked and would like to see again in the future?
I want to share it last semester. I mean, we have before in start of this semester, we have scheduled, 2 or 3, 4 assignments. We are working in group that time, but after classes, when they change everything, so we are working independent. I think we learn a lot. In my experience, I did by myself, and I think I have much better learning than in group setting. I learn. I mean, we did together assignments in group. We have a project, so you have to complete it in group, 2 or 3, 4%. So we have different people experience with that. So they have somebody's doing this part. But when you are doing independent and they make it in small portion, I think it's really good and helpful for me, and I get a lot, I think, more and more experience, and I am feeling like more confident in that subject than I was last semester. So I think it's much better than before. It's a good opportunity for me.
So for me, the one thing that I really liked was the fact that if there was something that I didn't like super understand or was having trouble with, I could literally just rewind the professor and like listen to it over and over again. And I wouldn't have to be like sitting there in class and being like, if they're building off of what they just said, you know, having been confused about what just happened and having to be continuously confused in class. So I'd say like that, I could kind of go at my own pace, which I really liked.
Yeah,
I agree with you on that as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the way you were saying about in England, like we don't have much discussion in class at all, and I don't know whether it's like a cultural thing where we're all like a bit scared to like start the conversation, like with fear of judgment, but we just don't tend to like ask questions at all. So as you say, if the lecture was going like really fast and you think, oh, I've just missed something, you would kind of just let it slip. So I enjoyed being able to like pause. I think I would spend like 4 hours on one lecture that was supposed to be like 2, just going over everything in detail. So I think that was definitely helpful for us.
Yeah, definitely. I also liked it that you could just watch the lecture whenever you wanted. So sometimes if you've got, you know, you've got a class at 3 o'clock, but you might have wanted to watch it at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I don't know, you can't always do that because that's online classes, but it was sort of more, well, you can just watch it whenever you want and do.
And no one was wondering what to wear when going to college. That was the best benefit of not doing online classes.
I would definitely agree with that one. You know, being at home, you can literally put on anything. You can be in your PJs the whole day if you feel like it. It's kind of the upside of having this whole online class. For me, what I liked about the online classes is the fact that whenever we have a lecture, our lecturer would record the session as well. So while we're having a lecture with her, and ask our questions, so she would record it and then make it available on our online platform as well. So if you weren't in class that moment, you can actually go back and go watch the recording of it. So that was actually helpful. So if you don't understand something, you can literally just maybe later or tomorrow go back to that lecture, and she would name the lecture and the topic and the recording of it, and then you can literally just go in there, watch the whole lecture over if you feel like you want to do that, which was amazing.
So in my university, it's just more convenient for students to contact their professors and just solve their problems as soon as possible. Usually when we are on campus, so we need to go around the campus to find where our professors are, and after they finish their class, we got the chance to communicate with them. But now, because you know that everybody needed to commute from home to school, it saves a lot of time. So maybe we are kind of focused on smartphones or digital devices, and we have more time to communicate with classmates or professors. The time saved from commuting is really effective and can bring about a lot of benefits.
I agree, Tavia. Like, as Goha was saying, no one had to worry about what they were wearing, and they also didn't have to worry that much about being late to class. So you had to, like, if you had like an 8 a.m., a lot of people would just wake up and just log in instead of having to wake up extra early to do the commute or to like get ready and like look a certain way. So I thought it was really funny to see some people like still in bed.
Yeah. I think that was the good thing about ours, all the pre-recorded lectures, that no one would know that if you're still in bed.
That's what you guys think. No. So it's been really wonderful hearing all of this, and I think we have an opportunity to use this experience and whatever we make in the fall to really revolutionize and change the way we teach. I've heard a lot of things that people really liked. Of course, we've had a lot of challenges as well, from learning new technology to losing the community feel of university and losing out on some really important milestones and celebrations as well. But there's been a ton of innovation that it turns out we really like, that has really worked out for us. No one expected this to happen, and we have all struggled trying to meet the needs of our students and to make sure learning outcomes have remained in place, because that's what we're all here for, right? The fall is going to be another huge challenge, and I don't know what will come, but if we can make it through emergency remote learning like we did in the spring, I think we can make it through whatever comes our way in the fall, especially since we have some more time to plan it out and really think about it, and everybody kind of knows what to expect and things like that. So I want to thank you guys for joining us today. Your insight has been absolutely valuable. I'm so thrilled that your universities have come through for you and supported you during this time. I know, Southern tried, and from my own perspective, it's all I wanted was for all of my students. I would have loved to see their faces again. I very much missed seeing all of my students. But we just wanted to make sure you guys were all okay and you made it through this period fine. And that was just we tried to radiate out compassion and what can we do for everybody? How can we be of service to you? Usually it's the other way around. You're doing things for me, but I want to know what I can do for you guys as well. So thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to more conversations in the future. We're going to talk about some other issues. We're going to touch upon some other things and do some fun stuff. So I really look forward to both the next few weeks of this program and whatever may come in the fall at the university. So thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Nina.
Thank
We'll see
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.